Today's topic is DEDIT. Now, I saw some article from a long time ago where some guy was using this to build some app, and he calls DEDIT dead. And ever since then, I call DEDIT DEDIT, and Sedit, 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 and TEDIT, TEDIT, and the TTY editor or the teletype editor as TEDIT. So if I accidentally say these things in here, especially TEDIT, because TTY editor and teletype editor are really long, so TEDIT. I'm talking about the TTY editor or the teletype editor. And DEDIT is a structure-oriented display editor, so it still structures. You can edit by character, but I haven't been able to figure that out unless I'm in the type-in buffer, which is also called the edit buffer. And it can use a teletype or the TEDIT commands, the teletype editor's commands. It's considered modeless, which is kind of confusing because it seems to have a bunch of modes, but I think they call it modeless because you select the stuff you want to manipulate first, and then after you select it, then you do a command on it, rather than changing the interface to pick the arg after you issue the command, I guess. And it runs in a little loop as its own. It's like a select command execute loop. And you have to load it first because it's not in here by default. Actually, edit mode. Edit mode will show you what you're in. So right now I'm in Sedit. And then edit mode, if I want to change it to teletype, because the teletype editor is here also. That just showed me it returns whatever you changed from. So if I also say edit mode again or redo 3, then you'll see I'm in the teletype editor now. Now, if I try to just edit a function that doesn't exist, then it just tells me it's not there. So it's almost like you're not necessarily supposed to create your functions and stuff inside the teletype editor, but then once they're there, you can start manipulating them. I don't want to go over that too much, but I guess if I could get in there later, maybe, but because DEDIT also lets you have these. So first I have to load DEDIT. So I'm going to say load dedit.lcom. Get my mouse out of the way because I always leave it in the way. And then now if I was to use df like normal and give it a test function, let's say, and it's going to ask me the same way SEDIT would what I want. And then I create a DEDIT window to start messing with. This locks up this terminal, which I kind of don't like. So I'm just going to create another one in case I want to use one later. Another Interlisp one, just get a small one here. One thing you can hit the tab key, and the tab key is going to jump the box over to you. I think they do this because if I was to say df fake, let's say, just to give it something else, and then now when I draw this window, this box is going to be with this window. If I click over here, it jumps over here, but maybe it's convenient if I had something clicked already. I don't know if I was doing something over here. Like, I don't know exactly know, but anyway, you can hit tab to move it where you're at, but just clicking this brings it to where I'm at anyway. Let me close this one though. So bring this over here, just gonna hit exit. And then, so you have like df to edit function definitions, let's say, and you have dv, which edits the variables, which I've used those two before. There's dp to edit the property list of an atom. And then you can also call ef like I just tried, but it didn't work because that function doesn't exist. Then ev for the variables and ep for the property list. I want to say there's another one called dc that edits the commands. And I don't know if those are the commands like in the rpack thing that I think I might have seen before or what, but I don't know what that one does yet, so I haven't messed with it. So just keep that in mind, I guess. And then this is still a structure editor like last time, but it's also has selections. So notice the last thing I select is underline dark, and the second to last thing I select, these are called like topmost, the topmost and second topmost thing that I select. That's what the documentation says. Then this is stack based though, so it still knows that I clicked this, and if I go around clicking on stuff, it knows about this. So it's something to keep in mind because everything has to do with clicking commands, and it's best to think, let's call this like a postfix it's stack based and it's postfix, just like if I was to say, you know, if I plus 1, 2, 3, 4, then this is like a postfix notation. And think of this as a postfix notation on selections, a stack based way to go around stuff. Hopefully that'll become a little clearer in a little bit. And then you have a type in buffer. So if I want to change, first off, let's say I don't want an arg list in here. Then I select this. Since it's the last thing I selected, it's what's going to get deleted. And because this is parentheses, it's only one thing. So I'll hit delete. And then when I delete it, it opens up this edit buffer. Also, I should have showed too, if I just start typing, if I just start typing, like if I click on body, this would have popped up and I'd be typing in something. And now if I want to change body to something else, I can select it, let's say. And then for now, let's just change it to like Apple. I'll just change it to Apple. Now, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to happen. I can't click on anything. Now it's kind of like stuck everywhere until I hit enter or closing parentheses. And if I hit enter, then this is the last thing selected. This is the second to the last thing selected. And therefore, if I was to say replace, it replaced these things. The thing to keep in mind is it matters what order. Because if I would have, you know, now, like if I would have clicked Apple right here, and then I want to replace Apple with arg list. If I would have selected arg list first and Apple second, then like I want to replace Apple, but that's not going to happen. All I did was replace my buffer down here. So that's something to keep in mind. The selection definitely matters a lot. And then let's say where Apple is, if I wanted to add just A, B, C, D, E. So I'm going to select that first. And I'm going to say A, B, C, D, E. And then hit enter. And then notice, the first thing it did is it turned this into a list, even though I didn't want that there. So if I click after, because of this, it's going to throw it after Apple. And then if I wanted to get rid of these things, then I would say like print out, and it'll get rid of the parentheses surrounding that. Now if I clicked B and then C and then say do parentheses in, then it's only going to put parentheses around those. And so if I wanted to put parentheses to here, then I could say parentheses in, and then it wraps all these guys around with parentheses. So I'm going to try to click that whole form, which I guess it's already selected, I just can't tell. And then like down here, it doesn't matter. It's not until I start typing. Like coming over here and clicking doesn't mean anything. It's just when you start typing. So I could put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and hit enter. And then I'm going to say after. And then it throws this in here. And also, like, I should have put the quote in there because now there's not a quote there either. So it's kind of strange to get around it right in here, I guess, a little bit. And just so there's some stuff in there. I'm not going to try to actually create a real function, I don't think, because I want to see the stuff is read in when it's reading this in from the type in buffer. There's something called, is it like Lisp? I think it's like Lisp xread maybe. And that's what it's using to read these, to put them over here, I think. And anytime you start typing, so anytime I start typing in here, whenever I hit enter, this is always going to be the last thing that's selected. Basically, it's something to keep in mind too. And then, okay, so I showed how to put some parentheses around this stuff, I guess. But you can also do this. Well, I guess another way to do this, like let's say I wanted to put, I want to add A and B here, let's say. So I'm going to say A and B. And when I hit enter, and then I'm going to add that, let's say, well, if I just replace 3 with AB, let's say, replace 3 with AB, but I didn't want these parentheses there. It's just going to throw them automatically. And then that's when you'll click this out button also. Now, if I undo this, and undo this one more time, well, it's just doing the last redos. I didn't know it did that, but anyway. So A and B, maybe I could delete both of those guys. It just deletes the one. If I were to put parentheses around them, then I could delete them by that. Now let's say if I want to put AB for 4, just replace AB with 4. I'm going to hit enter here, so this is the last thing selected. But I don't want these parentheses around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control key down. And when I hit replace, this is now going to be manipulating the stack based selections like I was talking about. So now I'm going to let go of control. It's not going to do anything until I terminate it by clicking a command without control. And so I'm going to say out to get rid of them. And then now I just added A and B, which had parentheses when I hit replace, but you couldn't see that because I held down control and then I got rid of them. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So then there's also, to show, I guess, like the stack base thing, let's replace all these with cat. So if I say 1, 5, 2, B, A, and then now I type cat, hit enter, and now I can either hit replace like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and notice it's doing it in the same order that I was in. And so now let's say I want to replace these with dog. I can say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I was to say, just start typing dog, hit enter. And then now I'm going to hold down control and hit replace 5 times. Well, 4 times, because the last one can't have the control key down. It's going to keep going. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let go of control, hit 5. And now it just replaced all those in a row. And that's kind of what I meant by the stack-based selection, I guess. What else is in here? There's also something with a shift clicking, but I couldn't really figure out what it was supposed to be doing. Sometimes this thing acts weird, but usually like if I hit, like supposedly if I hit shift and left click, then it's supposed to put lambda down here. So yes, it's doing it. So if I shift left click here, it puts nil there. So I can start adding things down here. So, like last time I tried this, it didn't work. So I don't know exactly what I was doing wrong, or if there's like some little glitches here every once in a while. Because sometimes whenever I'm adding stuff, it'll just be blank. It's actually there because you can manipulate it, you just can't see it. So I have to close the edit and open it back up. So I doubt it was like that in the past, but maybe like changing some stuff around. Change that around, or maybe of course I could just be doing something wrong because I don't know what I'm doing. And so it wouldn't be until I hit enter that this became something to start manipulating stuff with, or until you do a closing paren also. I guess another thing that's interesting, well, like moving stuff around. Like if I was to want to move this, so middle click. So there's, I don't know if I showed this or not, but like left click is just gonna do the stack base. Middle click will do the same thing, but highlights the structure in. So if I want to move this whole structure around somewhere else, then what I probably should have done was, let's say I want it to be before the A. I'm gonna click here because this is what you got to keep in mind. Click where you want to go, then middle click here, and then now if I was to say before, it moves, it copies that over because I didn't replace or anything, I moved it. So it moved that before the A. And if I wouldn't have clicked those in the right order, like if I would have said, you know, if I wanted to replace the A, let's say I want to replace the D here. So if I would have clicked this first, let's say, and then middle click this, then I come over here and click the A. These are selected wrong. So when I say after, it's going to move the A afterwards because I didn't click those in the right order. I had started mess with D and then I clicked A, but whatever. There's also some control keys, some control commands, and these might have to do with where you're at, because I think if you get to the bottom, it won't matter. So you might want to start at the front or start highlighting everything. But let's just try clicking here first. So if I want to find, let's just say the apple or the dog, well, there's more than one dog, so let's use dog. So Control F, and then I can say dog, and then it finds the dog. If I hit Control F, nope. I thought I could just hit Control F again, but I guess not. Maybe I have to type that out every time. And now it can't find dog, probably because I'm not in the right selection. So let me try that again. Click that and hit Control F, dog, Control F, dog. And notice it keeps running around to the next one, Control F, dog. But if I was to click like maybe B here and Control F for dog, then that time it found it. I don't know why it didn't a minute ago, but you can see how sometimes it's kind of weird because I don't know what I'm doing. And then to substitute stuff is Control S, which I guess it's kind of like you could use replace or something. But I'm just going to start at the beginning again. And if I was to hit like Control S, And then I want to replace dog with cat. I don't see my stuff replaced, so am I typing that in wrong maybe? I should be able to hit Control S and replace dog with cat. There it went. So yeah, the first time it didn't work. I guess at that time I clicked the whole thing, so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but keep in mind you might just want to click the whole thing first before you run some of these commands, I guess. And then another way to do this is I'm still going to click the front, even though you can't really tell. They're both the first and the second selection, I guess, because I clicked that twice. There's also a Control Z command, and this is also the editcom, but Control Z, these are, the editcoms are TTY commands. So if you know your teletype commands, it's kind of like working with Acme. If you know SAM, then you can get it around in Acme really well. This is the same type of thing off on the Plant 9 systems, or whatever the new 9 front and stuff like that. There are new versions of that. So if I was to say R, and then we're going to say R, I'm going to say cat and mouse, let's say, and then it just replaced. This is almost my preferable way to do this, is to, if I'm manipulating a lot of stuff, use the teletype editors commands. Once again, I'm going to select the whole thing, even though it's already selected. And then if I was to hit Control Z, then you can also say like this is 1, 2, 3, 4 is this whole thing. So 5, if I was to type 5 here and hit enter, it should be the mice that are in here that are going to be selected. And actually it did this one right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I thought 4 would be this, and then 5 jumped out of there. Maybe 4 closed somewhere else. So let me click back over here and Control Z4. And then notice this whole structure right here is selected, which I don't know. I see 2 parentheses here. Oh, because one of them closed there. Dirt. All right. So that's why it selected that. The way it, like, sometimes some of the stuff is indented, it's kind of strange for me. I would almost expect these guys to be on the same line, but it's almost like every time you open a paren, even though these are in the same list, because I closed this paren here, it put it here, and because I have opened this paren here, it put the next stuff on the next line, and that's just not something I'm used to at all. Like, I would expect all these to be on the same line, but it's just something to get used to, because I'm used to a different environment, I guess. And then there's like, I want to say there's an edit token. I don't know if you can see this over here or not, but is that something that actually exists, I wonder? So it's called like edit embedded token. Embed token, maybe. Let's see. Okay, so see how it's showing this ampersand right here. And this edit embed token is how you replace something with itself. So I'm going to, like, how would I? So right here, I want to do a before, maybe that's how I would do this. So I think I'm going to select where I want, and then I'm going to type like prog in, because prog would need variables to make it look correcter, I guess. So I'm going to type a prog in right here, and then I'm going to use that embedded token, which is the ampersand, and that matches itself. So I still think I should have, yeah, because I want my prog inside these parentheses. I probably don't, but when I was thinking of this, I did. So then when I close that, notice that time I didn't hit enter. It just matched that because I did the closing parentheses. And so now if I click before, then it throws my prog in, and none of the stuff was selected. So theoretically, that should have made that ampersand should be these guys. So I'm going to undo that because maybe I did something wrong. Let me click this whole thing this time because that probably makes more sense. And so if I was to say prog in ampersand, and then say before. I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong. That's still there, so let me try to click this guy. I wonder if it's not a before or after command that works on that, I don't know. So if I was on this one and I say, let me just try a prog, ampersand, and then try a before on that one. So I wonder if I don't put that there, because maybe it inserts those already. Oh, I have to enter in that case. Yeah, I don't know. It was working for me earlier when I was messing with it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It might be because it's expecting this prog. Maybe, I don't know, like this system very well, but let me just try this one more time. So maybe if I was to say prog and then give it like x is 1 and y is 2, and that closes my prog variables. And then now if I hit an ampersand here, if I replace mouse with that, it threw it in there. All right. It'd be nice if I deleted some of this stuff here. So let me go from here to here maybe. Yeah, let me tell you what. Let me just okay this guy. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Some of these commands, I'll get back to that prog because I think that after doesn't mean anything, probably replace. So that ampersand, that embed token might need to replace or something. But some of these things can have more than one. Just middle click in these coming down. See, this has, if I just, instead of, you can move the left parentheses over or in and the right parentheses in, or now to get out of here, you kind of have to come over here and start middle clicking again. So out would get rid of both of them. This would move it over to the left or move it over to the right. When I clean that up, maybe if I remember, I'll show that. And so there's different types of undos. I don't know, maybe that's how I undo more than one or something. I don't know how to use those yet. And then there's swaps. I haven't messed with those. So I guess you could, do different types of forms. I don't know. These are kind of like some of the commands. They're in the debugger. A break, eval. And then when I exit, it's going to save it. But if I hit stop, it won't. So I'm just going to say redo to redo that. Come back in here. Well, maybe I'm wrong about that. It maybe had already saved it somewhere else. So if can I just start deleting from here maybe? Let me just click this whole thing then. Delete that. Can't delete everything. Well, that's not cool. You know what? Yeah, I don't care. Just close it. Let me just do another one instead of messing with that. All right. That time it didn't ask me what kind of function definition to do. That's kind of nice, but strange. Or maybe that's a Sedit thing, but I'm pretty sure the first time I came in here, it did that on that one too. So what was I trying to do? I was trying to do a prog. So I want to delete this, let's say. And then now, I shouldn't have deleted it. I should have replaced it because now I have to do an after command. So let's just do print A, B, C, D, E. And then do an after command. Throw that in there. All right. Now let's say I wanted to have my prog thing and use the ampersand things one more time. So let me just select that whole thing. And then I'm going to start typing prog. And then I don't know why prog in didn't work because it shouldn't have to have those, but I don't even know if there's a prog in Interlisp, which it seems like there would be, but who knows. 1 and 2. And then now if I use my ampersand, it should replace these guys, right? So if I click replace instead, then here we go. So the before and after don't work, the replace does. That must be what I was doing wrong. And so now if I come over here and click exit, let's say, is that where I want to do this? Yeah. And I think it uses replace D for that, kind of like a rplac D or something. I'm not sure what that command to do the replacing. Notice how this thing's lingering around. I think there's a variable called linger. So like DEDIT. Do I have to type out DEDIT linger maybe? Well, that's not going to work, is it? DEDIT linger. And that's true. I haven't tried to set this before, but let's just try it. So if I say set q DEDIT edit linger, the all cap, the case changing and sensitivity is kind of strange when you're used to working in Lisp. And so then now if I was to say redo 14, I should change my read table, but some things expect it to be that way. I don't want to get confused in the video, I guess. And then now let me just close this. This time I'll hit stop because see how the window went away. So that's the setting that makes the windows go away if that bothers somebody, I guess. And then like if you change your com variables, I think in some of those other videos for the, I mess with those coms for like, but there's like a DEDIT type in coms maybe. So these guys, I don't know if that was one of them or not, but in case it's in here, if you were to change one of these things, or like when I changed this, if I would have changed this while I was inside there, I don't think it would work until after I closed it and came back in. So if you edit one of these things, you have to restart DEDIT, or there's a reset DEDIT maybe. And when you do that, I think that also closes all the windows though, so maybe you just close those anyway. So let's try that again. Let's like redo 14. And now it has to draw the box. That's why the second time when I did that, it didn't draw the box because it was using the same box, which was what I was talking about the whole time. And then now if I was to try to redo, so redo 19, because I'm looking at the 19 over here. I'm going to say redo 19. Say what? Oh, no, I don't. Redo 19s because I had it in quotes. Oh, sorry, that was 18. Man, am I blind? So I guess now I have that window locked up. Oh, it's still running. That's funny. Let me, well, I have to enter to do anything. So exit that. It's like something's messed up. Yeah, no joke. I closed the wrong stuff. So it was 14 actually that I want to do anyway. DF14. So what happens when you make videos when you don't sleep for too many hours, I guess. This shouldn't happen. This window's stuck. What if I just close it? Let me reset DEDIT. Who knows what I did. Maybe this will fix my issue. I was just trying to show that command because I had never had to use this stuff before. And now I don't even know what I was trying to do. So we'll do a mouse. Lambda. This isn't valid, so it's not going to accept that if I try to save it. So let me just get rid of that. And what was I trying to see? I don't even remember. It had something to do with the window staying open or closed or something like that. Oh, I wanted to see if it would actually kill this window. That might be what's trying to mess us up too. Reset, DEDIT. Yeah, so it closed not these windows though, so now I'm stuck in that messed up situation again. So yeah, I would just advise closing the window first until you know what's going on maybe. I think even though I was messing that stuff up, that's all I wanted to go over maybe. It's the very basics of DEDIT. That's the old editor. Like before I was wondering if DEDIT replaced TEDIT or SEDIT, but obviously it replaced SEDIT. And by default, you're not going to be using this anyway. The most interesting part of that is that it uses the teletype editor. So now that I have, like, yeah, I probably should make a different video for the teletype editor, but